Hello friends, welcome to Kavita's classroom. And today's topic is very interesting, very scoring, very much liked by the students because it's very easy. It's based on only two concepts, right? And if those two basic understanding points are clear, the whole concept is with you and you can score very well. Right. So we begin with revenue. But before this, let me take you back to your old story. When we talk about production, how production happens? Production happens when land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur, all of these unite. Right. So, what becomes the cost of production? Land has to be given the rent, then wages, then interest, and then profit. So, this all has to be given back to these resources in lieu of their production, right? So, it means for producing, this totality gives you the cost, right? This is the cost of production. So when we are selling something in the market, right, and getting some returns out of those sales, those returns have each and everything out of it. Right. So revenue is nothing but the sales proceed by selling a commodity, whatever money a firm receives is called its revenue. So it means if a firm is receiving some money that carries all the components and profit is one of its component. Right. So this will make this picture clear that profit can be found from revenue after deducting other costs. This cost, this cost, this cost, when is all taken out, we are left with the profit. Or revenue means the cost of factors of production, other factors plus this factor, right? This is entrepreneur's return. So revenue is equal to cost plus profit, right? And I hope now you know that revenue and profit are not the same. Profit is a part of revenue. Before proceeding any further, we would have a look on all these three old concepts: total, marginal, and average. Okay, so what is total? Total is price into quantity. This gives us total revenue. For example, some output of 100 units is sold at the rate of 100 per unit, right? So what's the total revenue generated? That's equal to 10,000 rupees. Okay. But what is this formula also equal to? If you are talking about the perspective of a seller, this is total revenue. But if it is from the perspective of a buyer, so this becomes total expenditure. Right? Total expenditure is equal to price into quantity. So TR is equal to P into Q. Then MR, marginal. Marginal means whatever revenue, the additional revenue is received by selling one more unit, right? So MR at nth value is equal to TRN minus TRN minus 1, the old formula. So they say that if TR of is 10,000 when 10 units are sold and 11,000 when 11 units are sold. So what is the additional revenue? Additional revenue means TRN minus TRN minus 1 means these two are consecutive units. So what is the additional revenue generated by selling one more unit is the difference between the two states of revenue here. And also it was discussed in our previous module that when we are not given the data consecutively, means 10th and 11th, 15th and 16th. So which formula do we use? We use delta TR divided by delta Q. Okay, for example, here they have given the total revenue after 10 units and 15 units. So, what would be the formula for MR here? Now, we are not given 10th and 11th. So, we'll have a difference of these and the difference of these units, right? So, difference of 1500 and 1000 is 500 and difference of 10 and 15 units is 5. So, we land on 100 as the additional revenue per unit. So our takeaway is MR has got two formulas, TRN minus TRN minus 1. MR is equal to change in revenue with respect to change in quantity. And average, as told before, average is nothing but the ratio of TR by quantity. We call it per unit revenue, right? So if 100 is the quantum and TR is 1000. So what is average revenue? That's equal to 10. We do call it as what is the rate, right? So as I'm saying, per unit revenue or what's the rate, these are the other names given to it. So now let's understand about these are all other relations we have already talked about. That revenue, this chapter gives you two cases. And in the chapter of market and price determination, you would get to know that basically there are two formats of market. One is perfect and the other is imperfect. Right. And in imperfect, there are number of other examples of the market forms available these days, right? But the point is, basic criteria is markets are divided into two formats. One is perfect and the other is imperfect. So we'll talk about these two cases primarily in this chapter. So what is the first and the foremost condition of perfect market? The constancy of price. So the prices are always constant. What does this mean? It simply means that even if you're selling 1 unit or you're selling 100 units or 1000 units, the price remains the same. Actually, this form of perfect market is in books now. Actually not existing, beyond imagination, because it's just a virtual concept as on today. Right. There are some examples which are quoted in the books, but those are the closest possible example. There is always some variation of the price in the actual market. Right. So this actually we try to understand to know about the deviations from perfect market. That's why we try to understand what do you mean by imperfect market and how much are the imperfections prevailing. It is only a barometer or the rod stick to understand the imperfections of the market. So in imperfect market, we know that the prices are not constant. Right. So with this basic understanding, if we go ahead, the whole chapter gets covered. Like if we are talking about the constancy of the price, this is going to be our TR, AR and MR. TR is starting from the origin and it's moving ahead, upward sloping, positively sloping curve, right, at an angle of 45 degrees, right? AR and MR are parallel to x-axis. Why do these give this type of shape? What is TR? TR is the total revenue, price into quantity, right? What is price? Is the average revenue. As it was discussed below, just before, that AR is the rate prevailing in the market. So say if something is sold at rupees 10, right? So how do we say the rate is 10 all throughout and this is nothing but AR? I'll tell you how we have calculated AR also. But let's understand what is TR. TR is price into quantity. So 1 unit is sold. So the TR would be 10. For 2, it is going to be 20. For 5, it is going to be 50. That is AR into quantity, P into Q. Okay. What is marginal revenue? Marginal means the additional revenue by every additional sale, right? So at every step, whenever we are selling next unit, because it's priced same at rupees 10, so MR at each step is 10. And because AR is equal to TR by quantity. If you just try to check out with this formula, 10 by 1, 20 by 2, 30 by 3, 40 by 4, 50 by 5, this all is going to give you 10. Right. And why? There is a question at times, why P is equal to AR? So we do say that AR is equal to TR by quantity. And what is TR equal to? TR is equal to price into quantity by quantity, and hence we are left with price. So this simple 2 steps derivation gives you 1 mark or 3 mark, whatever way it is asked in the paper, that justify that AR is price. Right. So in this case, when we see that every unit is sold at 10 rupees only, whether 1 unit is sold or 100 units are sold. So AR, price and MR at every step is equal to 10, right? So our takeaway from this table is AR is equal to MR is equal to P, right? And we do say is equal to D, demand curve. I'll tell you later. So, and how is TR behaving? TR is moving at the rate of 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this table is replicated in this diagram and we get to have AR is equal to MR is equal to P, the price that is equal to 10 here, and it's a straight line. Moving ahead, they have given you a box information that firm's demand curve or price line is the same as AR curve. I've already given you before that AR is equal to MR is equal to P is equal to D, and D is nothing but the demand curve in a perfect competition, and perfect competition is featured by or characterized by a constant price all throughout, right? So whenever we have a constant price, we have four diagrams made with this line parallel to x-axis, where this represents AR, MR, P, as well as the demand curve of the firm. Now the second case is what happens when AR is not constant or the price is not constant, and actually that is relatable to present scenario. We have many a times seen that whenever we go for higher quantities, we try to negotiate that if I'm buying 1 kg and this is the rate, then if I go for 10 kgs, would you be giving me some benefit or not? Right. This is what we actually see. We do also. So this is real life situation and this is the imperfection, and this is showcased by a changed price. Mind you, whenever I'm saying not the constant price, it would never be showing upwards. Say I'm buying 1 unit for rupees 10. So if I'm going for 2 units, what would I be negotiating for? Would I say, oh no, because I'm buying two, get me the same in 25? Never. We will say, get me the same in 15 because I am buying two together. So we try to bring the price down. So you by non-constancy mean that the prices tend to fall. They would never be showcasing any hike, right? So prices are shown falling here, and it is a true example of imperfect market situation. Right. And in this imperfect market situation, prices, if you're going for one commodity, that's priced at 10. If you're going for the second commodity, you would have each of them together at 9.5. So now that we know how do we find TR, total revenue is price into quantity, right? So just keep on multiplying and you get to have this table. And when you have this table, just subtract this value, right? The preceding value from the current value, and you get to have this value. Say 34 minus 27 will get you 7. So this way you are able to get the whole column sorted with TR, AR, MR. AR, if you want to calculate through TR, that's also going to give you the same values as P is there. It's a shortcut and nobody would be deducting you marks for writing P is equal to AR straight away, as we have already discussed that TR divided by quantity is AR, and this is equal to P into Q by Q, and hence AR is always equal to P. So if instead of finding AR, you are straight away writing P is equal to AR, that will give you the same weightage, right? Now, can MR be 0 or negative? Yes, it can be 0 and negative. And in all the previous topics like costs, revenue, utility, we have read that MR does go to negative, but a rational producer, consumer, or the rational person will try to limit as and when the negative begins, right? So if we talk about the pictorial presentation, let us analyze this. How does it behave? See, P and AR are moving down. 10, 9.5, 9 and 8.5. So P and AR are falling. MR also is falling, 10, 9, 8, 7. But which is falling slow and which is falling fast? See, here the fall is by half unit and here MR is falling by 1 unit. So how does it look like? It looks like this, that AR or P is falling at this rate, but MR is falling at double the rate of AR. So here we would have approximately same distance. It lies somewhat in the mid of this vertical line and this AR line. This is how we try to make. I always tell my students, if this is AR, just virtually make a line and take the half of it and just try to make it pass through this with your scale, you would be making it better. So this becomes MR. If you are making MR this way, that if this is AR and if you are just inclining it to this, or if you are inclining it to this, both of these would be the wrong illustrations, right? And how TR behaves, just check. TR is moving up, but it's not 10, 20, 30, 40 as we had it in case of the perfect market, above done, right? So how does it behave? It's moving up, it is positive, but the angle or the inclination is not that straight, right? It is a curvical rise because it is not rising at a steep manner, right? So the slope is falling, it's not constant, and hence TR is moving in a curvical manner. But we do know with our previous understanding where is the maximum of T, where M is 0. So mark this point. These diagrams are made vis-a-vis each other, right? And we try to first make, say, if I'm making this diagram, I'll make this, then I'll give a vertical line, and then I'll try to make TR. Because they have everything to do with each other. When MR is falling, TR is rising slowly. When MR is 0, TR is maximum. And when TR is falling, it means MR has now started in the negative zone. So this is the relationship of AR, MR and TR in a imperfect market situation where the prices are not constant. So this is the basic structure of the whole chapter. We have the schedule and curve of both the situations. Case 1, the perfect market, and case 2, the imperfect market, right? So now the rest of the portion talks about, if you want to talk about monopoly and monopolistic, though this is not there in your syllabus, but you must know that perfect and monopoly are the poles apart thing, and monopolistic lies somewhere in between, right? So if perfect market shows the constant prices, right, and these two are showing the fall in prices, so monopoly will give more or bigger fall as compared to the monopolistic. Okay, so if we just try to compare all the three markets and their schedule and curve, what would we find? We'll find this is the perfect market with P is equal to A is equal to MR is equal to D, means the demand curve, and TR would be rising this way. Okay. But in case of monopoly, what would happen? We have shown the prices to be falling by 1 unit at every step. And hence the calculations are made. TR is equal to AR into quantity, and MR is the additional revenue generated, right? So this will look like this, wherein this fall of AR and MR is steeper. It's falling more. And in monopolistic, there is no much difference, but it is only a relative difference. Means here again, the rationality remains the same. There is a fall showcased. Fall is by half unit here, half and half at every step. Hence are the calculations done. And when you try to plot this on a piece of graph, here this is flatter as compared to the previous diagram. So what is your understanding after doing these? Your understanding is, if you are given this type of diagram, that this is AR and this is MR, right? So we say this is imperfect market, right? So this can be a monopoly, this can be a monopolistic market, depending upon what is the other diagram. If you say we have another diagram more flatter, so this would be monopoly. But if you have another diagram more steeper, so this would be monopolistic, because in both the diagrams, in monopoly as well as monopolistic, there is a downturn of AR and MR curves. With this understanding, the chapter is near its closure, and they have given you beautifully in this diagram with all the three situations that perfect market is this, which is having just a parallel line parallel to x-axis. And this is the demand curve of monopolistic market, where we are showing it flatter, and monopoly market is showing you the steeper demand curve. Right? So they say this is perfectly elastic is the perfect competition, right? Low elasticity is here, monopoly market, and the high elasticity is monopolistic market, right? And you would have a better insight of what do we mean by actually the monopoly, monopolistic, and perfect market. This is to be studied in the last unit of this microeconomics. Till then, with this knowledge only, we'll try to understand the whole chapter. If you have any queries, any doubts, all are welcome. So keep studying hard, score good marks in your exams. Bye-bye. See ya.